Well, we're going to talk about the 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds, and when we're done doing that, and the aged horses, I might talk to Steve and Jim a little bit about the sales, about what their highlights of the year was, because not often we get to drive for a long period of time. You know, I'm usually by myself, right? Or I have my kids with me and Amy with me. But not this often that we have clients that feel, what's a Jerry Seinfeld thing? Coffee in a car with Jerry or something, you know what I mean?
Comedians in the car.
What is it?
Comedians in the car talking comedy or something.
Yeah. So I'm going to run through the 2-year-olds. You guys, not a whole lot has changed from last week in these lists, but I do want to bring them through you. Absolute Euphoria continues to jog and train down. I like this filly training down. There are some horses, when we put them away, I do have higher expectations. I'm always concerned. There is that voice in my head when we put a 2-year-old away that isn't for an injury reason. Are they going to come back? Okay, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Absolute Euphoria, I believe, is in the sometimes they do category, but we'll see. Anchors Up, jogging, getting ready to start training back. It's a big colt. I noticed the other day when I was in the barn, they didn't have flip-flops on him. They said he was a little stumbly, and I said, well, he's got a little bit of a club foot, that horse. And I didn't notice that when we bought him. I think some of that may have come after. He's had problems with his feet. So he's got to have the flip-flops put back on. You got to remember, when I'm coming from Northfield, it's a straight shot, but when you're coming from the Meadows, you got to get on the 90, right? Right here. So Anchors Up, getting ready to start training back. What my plan is with him, and the reason I looked at Steve is because there's a small group. I own a position in Anchors Up, and so does Steve. You do too, Jim. So obviously, a horse that qualified. He did qualify, and as on paper, it was okay. A lot more work to do, and he does have that stake series. What's that track called again? Corbin in Kentucky in November, so lots of time to get this guy ready. Austral Hanover, just super impressed with him. You know, I got to be honest, I think I did him a disservice last night. I can easily tell you how I could have won with him. As it turned out, the third quarter, I just let him saunter along because he felt really full of himself and he felt really good. We're coming into the final. I just let him do his work, and I think he played himself out, and I was a part of that. So had I doubled him up and really, ratcheted down the speed in the third, could they have out-trotted me down the lane? No, probably not. Probably not at all. So at the time, it seemed like everything was going according to plan and everything was fine. But in reality, it did play a role in him getting beat, and he's just been such a sweetheart to drive this year. Every year we talk about pleasant surprises, but I don't know that I've had one more pleasant than this guy to drive. He's turned into an absolute race car to drive. You do whatever you want with him. He puts out, he still wears a lot of weight, this horse. We're going to take a pair of those bell boots off and let his hobbles out a little bit more. He's going to be a real fun horse to race at 3 also. Brace for Landing will be schooling this week. A little bit of a power outage in the Wellwood elimination. What happened there, I don't really know. Now James can school him on Tuesday. I'm going to be at Mount Gilead on Tuesday, but James knows the horse. I just want him to go a good mile. Very plain question I need answered in an extremely plain way. Can he, is he, will he be headed to New Jersey the following week? Not a hard question to answer. Carter Michael Dio, as we all know, it's well documented now, bled a little bit last night. He's going to be going on Lasix, but man, I was so happy to hear Dave Miller say, no, he was perfect when he made front. At no point was I worried he would make a break, which is great to hear because he's been fractious, but now he's starting to be a little more level-headed, which is important. That's a step that all these horses have to take if they're going to be effective. So I'm a little bummed out he didn't make the final, but I suspect he'll be very, very good in the Constellation. Cash Deals, I suspect there's 2 or 3 of them. Like, sipping on my shine every week I talk about him. He's still out in the field. He's got to come back in. And so does Cash Deals at some point. Whenever she's ready, we'll bring her back in. Now, obviously, we have a little mathematical problem with stalls being available. As we go up to First Line Training Center, there'll be a junket of stalls available, 30, 31, something like that. Then there'll be a few more as a couple of people move out. Then there'll be more, and I suspect by the time we get to the Harrisburg sale, there'll be a strong 50 there for us, which should be enough for now in First Line in Ontario. Chocolate for lunch. You're probably going to see her go up on gate also. Maybe I guess we're going to get her some more sun on gate. She can probably find her way on there also. And I know there's going to be a lot of people saying, but what if? At the end of the day, she's not cutting it. And even if she was 100%, would she be anything more than an effective overnight horse? Potentially? No, I don't think so. Columbus probably fits in the same area, in the same group as Chocolate for Lunch. I guess in hindsight, I know Jason said to me, ribbing me the other day, said, well, you did come right back out of the 2-hole the other day. He's right, I did. It was unnecessary. Cost us probably third, second money. That's my bad. But Columbus is a difficult horse to drive because he'll fool you into thinking he's about to do something that he has no intentions of doing. And he did. He forced my hand the other day, and I should know better. Coupe de Ville made a couple of breaks. I expect her to be a little bit better. I expect Coupe de Ville to be a little bit better wherever Jason decides to race her this week, either at the Mount Gilead Fair on Monday, or won't be both, or at Northfield Park on Wednesday. That will be up to Jason, and I expect her to have her head screwed on straight and do a better job at the gate and in the race. Crantini, I don't want to dwell on Crantini. You guys know how I feel about this. It's well documented by now. I think the horse is more than ready for the final, and last night was it was not an unforced error. It was something that I think Megan and Scotty can correct quite easily, and I think he'll be very, very good in the final. Connie, she's okay. Did her work okay the other day. She also, like Carter, have had weeks where there was a little bit of blood found. There wasn't any 2 times ago, and there was nobody there to scope her the other day, so I don't really know if there was. I suspect the way she gave up a little bit, there might have been. Will we find her under the Lasix program at some point? I don't know. This is a week-to-week basis. There's nothing saying that they will every week, but if they do, it is on our radar. And it may sound to a lot of people, I've had this conversation with a couple of horsemen that watch these videos, say to me, seems like you have a lot of horses with an issue of bleeding, and I don't think that's the case at all. I think it's an issue across the industry, and I think if we took the time to scope a bunch of horses every given, and on one day, if somebody did a study, go into Mohawk and scope all the horses on a Saturday night, if that was possible, if people would allow you to do it, I think you would be shocked with how many horses actually do have an issue from week to week. I think you'd be surprised. Cutie Cumber. Now, Cutie Cumber was jogging good, then after the race, came up a little sore right hind, was a little sick. We did scratch her. Started back today. Jason said she jogged great, but on the pavement back to the barn, she seemed quite tender on her feet. And the veterinarian was going to take another look at her. Last thing we want to do is push her over an edge that she's teetering on. Is this that she's a little sore because she was shod this week yesterday? Is there something more going on? I don't know. We do need to address it though and find out. This is a filly that showed her talent in her first start, finished up very, very well, mile 59. I think there's a very nice filly in there, but she has to be ready to go forward if we're going to ask her to do it. And she's close, but maybe not quite there yet in a consistent manner. Enzo Guayo, obviously Steve's right here. He's the breeder, and he's fallen asleep. And he woke up as soon as I said Enzo. He looked very tired. What sleepy bear. I think Enzo is a horse that possesses speed. Has a few little demons also. I think he's going to be a very nice horse for somebody. Obviously didn't make it to that top rung of staking competition that we were hoping and certainly would this year, but that's racing. And for those of you who think that obviously you don't. This was a horse that I touted from day one, and he just didn't. It's so hard. And I attribute this to all sports franchises and teams. You have to have the talent, want to use it, work harder than everyone else around you, and hope that luck is on your side a lot of the times. And that goes into many sports, not just horse racing. So Enzo not really there just yet, but on the cusp. I put him through the ringer last night. That was a tough thing, and that was not by accident. I do not apologize for it in the least. I drove him the way I thought he needed to be driven. I knew exactly how fast we were going. I knew exactly where I was at every juncture with Enzo, and that is exactly how I wanted the race to play out now, except for I wanted to win. But I felt that is how I needed to drive that horse last night. And we can all look at it in hindsight and say, I should have done this, you should have done that. I am completely unapologetic about what took place with him last night. Who did it that time? Conor McGregor. It was great. He's a bit of a tool. but he said, I want to take this time to apologize to nobody right now. You know, you don't want to. Okay. Anyway, no, I it's just the way it worked out. Fashion Presidente, listen, very nice, turned into a very nice horse to be around, and did well. Won a Stallion series, tried his heart. I can't say the horse didn't try, because he did. I'm very happy, and he will be a decent horse in the future. And as I said, he will go on gate, but I'm not going to give him away. No, I certainly can't sell him for anywhere near less than $25,000 for a horse like him. Useful 2-year-old with a decent future in front of him. I like him. He's a likable animal. But at the same token, you know, we do have potentially 4 in the Stallion Series final. 3 for sure, 1 knocking on the door. It may be a good time to maybe test free agency with Fashion Presidente and Enzo for that matter. 5 fish species, 2. Oh, I meant to tell you, 2-2 last half, 58 the other day at Mohawk. She'll be, I would suspect, qualifying, but it may be potentially schooling again on Tuesday. I hope qualifying. Mario's been tickled with her. Thought that she's just been doing a great job lately. So very happy to hear that. Full Heart obviously has that little line in the cannonbone. The prognosis is excellent. She will heal 100%, and I hope the demons in her head, the voices in her head, go away in that time frame, because there's nothing holding her back from being a nice horse also. But she will need time for that right hind cannonbone down low to heal on her. Gandalf the Black, we've put away now for the year. I told everybody it played out exactly how I scripted it and hoped it would. I thought that he was going to win the other night. He did win. I was very happy with the draw, very happy with the race. And you know what? Here's a horse again. Deserves all the respect in the world. Went from him and Austral, and they're not the only ones. A couple of the other ones did. Even Fashion Presidente went from being kind of not even really in the mix all year training down to being horses that won stake coolers. Right now, Gandalf didn't win a stake the other night, but he did win a race. He did win at 56. He's shown multiple quarters in 27 throughout his 2-year-old season. I think he's going to be a nice horse to race as a 3-year-old also, and I think he earned his trip to the field. High Enterprise, she didn't earn any trips to the field, but she's going to get one anyway. Filly that we just had so much hope for. You want to talk about disappointments? Few are equal to the disappointment I felt with High Enterprise. It's a filly that, you know, 2 weeks before the next generation, she very likely could have been our next generation entry, and for her just a not, and part of it is her. I'm not going to say that it's bad luck and she was sick and there was this. She did have her issues, but when push came to shove, she just didn't want out. She didn't want to work her way through them. And I hope she grows up. And is a better 3-year-old. I hope for everybody. You know, this was our pick. You know, we're not always right. You know, we talk about Uno Adana and we had lots of luck with them. We had bad luck too, plenty of it. And you know, High Enterprise is a perfect example. Horn Player, another filly that's done very well for us. I shouldn't say that. She hasn't done very well yet. She won a race. She won a 58. She did her work. I'd love to see tonight be a breakout race for her, and that she jumps on the truck to New Jersey next week. I would love to see that, but that'll be up to her. I still think, and it's not that she's been a disappointment. She hasn't turned that corner yet, but she's on the cusp. It just feels like she's right there. And to be very frank, a mile 56 and 4 is nothing to scoff at either. She's raced in a stake race. She's put in her time. I'd like to see her do a little more work, and I think she's right, as I said, right on the cusp of doing that. Where are we at here? Horn Player. Lady All-Star, I watched her train the other day in 2.5. I thought she trained good, but the way she cooled out, she was still blowing quite a bit. I think she's going to need a little more time, and that's just her telling me that. When I look at her, how she was after her training mile, she looked to me like a horse that was still another 2-3 weeks away, and that's exactly probably what it's going to take. There's no rush. The Autumn Series is coming up in October. We can have her ready to go for them, and so be it. That's exactly what we'll do. Landing Pad, we opted to. He had what the vet called a buck shin. He must have banged it on something, the goof, or did something. But this was a time we castrated him the other day, and we will turn him out, bring him back as a 3-year-old. It's just time. You know, it's just, you can only have, even though there's lots of time, there is a line to be drawn for every horse, and I think Landing Pad just needed some time to grow up and fill out, and that's exactly what we're going to do with him. Landing Strip is in tonight. I expect him to do well tonight. I hope he does well. Man, people maybe missed this, but I believe I'm right in saying it was the fastest last half of any 2-year-old on the program the other night. It was 55-2 last half, right? Landing Strip. Last quarter in 27-2. He looked good. Looked really good. It looks like a horse that is, again, right on the cusp of breaking out, and I expect one of these days you're going to see him do that, whether it's tonight or whether it's next week in New Jersey. I think you're going to see this horse start to break out. And keep in mind, he's paid into a bunch of stuff at the end of the year, so there was never a rush with him. Very happy with what I've seen from Landing Strip. Leaps and Bounds races tomorrow in Kentucky. She's done well there. 2 seconds, I believe, heading into the third leg in Kentucky. Really happy with what I've seen from her. Again, kind of a quiet summer, but again, she's paid into that stake race in Corbin also. We plan on racing her right through till then. She hasn't had a real heavy workload even from the start in Pennsylvania till tomorrow. I think it's only been 4 races maybe. So pretty light schedule throughout the year for her. Merchant Man qualified in 2-1 the other day. Dominic said, do you want to put him in to go? I said, it's simple. If James and you believe he can trot in 58 right now, then race him. If not, requalify him. I'm not putting horses in just to race. It's not going to happen. So I suspect we're going to see Merchant Man requalify again on Tuesday. Mo Power Baby, a little bit of a hurdle, a little bit of a speed bump going on right now. Made a break in her last 2 starts. I talked to Ross extensively about this filly in particular. He said, Anthony, I took some weight off. She seems great at the farm, but maybe she needs it at the gate. Maybe she needed it. So I suspect he's just going to try and put that weight back on. He said she's not sore anywhere. She seems to be comfortable and content. So we'll see how Mo Power Baby does. Now, more than you know, coming off the virus, tightened him up last week. I want to see a good race from this horse. I meant to mention the Ridge. I didn't talk to him today about this horse as we jumped and ran out of there. Jim, 7:16, buddy. Making a great time.
Perfect.
Yep. So more than you know, really going to keep my eyes will be peeled on the Poconos tomorrow for sure. Is it tomorrow or Monday? I think it's tomorrow. Either way, tomorrow or Monday. My 1%. I told Rod Hughes where he's turned out the same thing I tell you all the time. When he's ready to come in, come in. Tell me when he's fat, when he looks good, when he's comfortable and happy, shiny. That's when he comes back to the barn. Whether that's this week, next week, or 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now, that'll be up to him. Nothing But a Dreamer. Super excited about him tonight. I can't help but feeling in the pit of my stomach that he belonged in the Wellwood tonight, Wellwood final, and very disappointed that he didn't get there, but just came a nose and a head short of making it in, and then for him to draw the second also eligible just really sucked. Really wanted to see that horse in there tonight, but unfortunately that's the luck of the draw. Oh my gosh, back training now. I suspect Jason will train him on Wednesday. I can train him for that matter on Wednesday also. So he'll train this week. I'll get a better look at him. Old Check is in tomorrow at Leamington with Preston Shar, Blacksmith Driving. He did a great job with him his last 2 starts. He should be very good tomorrow in Leamington. Rito Legacy continues to jog and train back. No real super updates from this filly other than she's doing her work well and continuing to train down. Rosita's Dream, as I mentioned at the start of my opening video, we might see him show up on Gate today, just because we're an opportunity now where we can put him up. He has a number of stakes, still 3-4 stake races left in Illinois. People in Illinois may like him. We may be able to build some capital for the yearling sale on the 5th. I think probably that's what we will do moving forward. Silent Assassin, just disappointed with this filly yesterday. 2-2, but when I moved her, she should have drove right by that horse in the front. In hindsight, I wish I hadn't moved her, obviously, but just she gives you that feeling like she has a lot more to offer, and I think she does. Unfortunately, I think we sell her now, we get nothing for her, so I think we'll turn her out for 4 or 5 weeks. That was the other horse I wanted to tell Tim to turn out. We'll turn out Silent Assassin for 4 or 5 weeks, bring her back, and race her in the maiden, and right into the condition claimers if we have to. She will be an effective horse in 2023 for us at some level. Sipping on My Shine, as I said, will come back in. He could have come back in already. I suspect we'll bring him back in this week, I guess. We're moving our stable up to first line this week. I've talked to you guys about that. Right now, as it stands, we have 31 stalls, so Sipping on My Shine may not come back in this week. He may come back in the week after. We'll see as we get everything situated. Sir Strong will likely be in a race Thursday. I think he'll be in a race. We'll see how he does. I don't think I'm here Thursday. I think this is a big James drive for Sir Strong. Sister Solange is turned out now. She's going out tomorrow, actually, hopefully. I want to get her out in the field. Lots of time with this filly. I think we're sitting on a very, very nice 3-year-old. You know, she, unfortunately, I wish I hadn't put her on Lasix now for that last start, but anyway, whatever. We'll turn her out and bring her back in. I want to give her at least 2 months off. Smoking Hot Irish Girl, so impressed with her win the other day. It wasn't a mile. No point going to look at the chart line. It's not an impressive looking line, but it was an impressive mile. She looked very good doing it. Spitfire Overseas just looked awesome last night. So happy with the way this colt has come along this year. Tactical Mounts will be heading to New Jersey, but not before she races in Georgia tomorrow. I'm actually excited to race her. Really happy. I like this filly. I can't wait to see her go. Tailgate Buzz just got picked off last night. I suspect he'll be on his toes for next Monday. I was trying to think of the day. For next Monday for the Stallion Series final. Victor Cruz will race at the fairs. He's going to find himself on gate, I think, at some point too. I don't think we're going to carry this guy over to the 3-year-old season. We'll see how that works out. Is he in to go? Victor Cruz? I think he's in to go on Monday or Tuesday. It must be Tuesday Colts, right? So I'll probably put him on gate for Wednesday, to be honest. I think I will. Warwi Uri's turned out, and his horse is probably one of our best bred horses in our 2-year-old division, or one of them definitely in Ontario bred. Schooled the number times 2-4, 2-3. As I said to Mario, he's there now. He understands the gate. He understands his job. Turn him out. Let him grow up. Let him come back in and do his job. And that's exactly what we're going to do with Warwi Uri. What a mission. Made a little skip. He said he wouldn't. He did. Come back trotting and raced well. I just confidence with this guy. It's how he was training down. We had him good when we got to Ohio. Now his confidence is a little waning again. See if we can get him back on track. He's racing Monday or Tuesday in Mount Gilead also. Whispering Song is also in Tuesday. Whispering Song's in Monday at Mount Gilead. I'd just like to see this filly come around. Jeez. You know, she's right up there with High Enterprise, but how heartbreaking. 2 Enterprise fillies worth noting, I suppose. How heartbreaking her season was for me. And then wouldn't it be nice, Mario told me he's been in 230, continues to train her down. I don't know what she looks like. I hope she's fine. I hope she looks good. And I can't wait to see her race this winter, I guess. So with that, that's your 2-year-olds. Way back 3-year-olds, aged horses. We're going to wake Steve up and do a little round table after that. But for now,